Hi, Cams North. Today's first chapter Friday is going to be the true meaning of Smekday, and it is by Adam Rex. This book was actually turned into a movie and a Netflix series. It did not have the same title as the book. So, if you can come to the library and tell me what the Netflix and movie title was called, I will give you a Trojan dollar. So, if you know it, you can come to the library and get that. But this book is really funny, and it's a great book about aliens invading the Earth. So, the true meaning of Smekday. Assignment, write an essay titled The True Meaning of Smekday. What is the Smekday holiday? How has it changed in the years since the aliens left? You may use your own personal experiences from the alien invasion to make your points. Feel free to draw pictures or include photographs. All essays will be sent to the National Time Capsule Committee in Washington, D.C. The committee will choose one winning essay to be buried with the National Time Capsule, which will be uncovered in 100 years from now. Essays must be at least 5 pages long. Gratuity Tucci, Daniel Laundry Middle School, 8th grade. The true meaning of Smekday. It was moving day. Should that be capitalized? I never would have capitalized it before, but now moving day is a national holiday and everything, so I think it should be capitalized. Anyway, it was moving day and everybody was crazy. You remember, it was chaos. People running around with armfuls of heirloom china and photo albums, carrying food and water, carrying their dogs and kids because they forgot that their dogs and kids could carry themselves. Crazy. I remember one lady with a mirror, and I thought, why save a mirror? And then I watched her run down the street with it in both hands, arms outstretched, like she was chasing vampires. I saw a group of white guys dressed as Indians who were setting fires and dropping tea bags down manhole covers. There was a man holding a chessboard high over his head like a waiter, looking all around him on the pavement, shouting, "Has anyone seen a black bishop?" over and over. I remember Apocalypse Hal was on the corner by the laundromat. Hal was a neighbor street preacher who worked at the fish and crab place next door. He wore a sandwich board sign of Bible verses and shouted angry things at passerbys like, "The end times are near," and seafood sampler $5.99. Now his sign just read, "Told you so," and looked more anxious than angry. "I was right," he said as I passed. "About the fish or the apocalypse?" I asked. He followed beside me. "Both. That should count for something, shouldn't it? That I was right? I don't know." "I don't think it would be aliens," he mumbled. "I thought it would be angels with flaming swords. Something like that. Hey, maybe they are angels. You find some pretty weird descriptions of them in the good book. There's this one angel in Revelation with 3 heads and wheels." "I think they're just aliens, Hal," I said. "Sorry." Apocalypse Hale stopped, but I kept walking. After a few seconds, he called after me. "Hey, girl, do you need help carrying stuff? Where's your pretty mom?" "I'm going to meet her right now," I shouted. I didn't look back. "Haven't seen her in a while." "It's okay, meeting her," I said. It was a lie. I was all alone because Mom had already been called up to the spaceships by signals from the mole on her neck. It was just me and the cat, and I have to tell you, I wasn't feeling too friendly toward the cat. I carried her for a while, but she squirmed like a bag of fish, so I set her down. When I walked, she followed me, flinching whenever someone ran by or honked a car horn, which was all the time. It was step, step, jerk, step, step, jerk, like she was doing the conga. Eventually, I looked behind, then all around, and didn't see her anymore. "Fine," I said. "See ya, Pig." And that was that. My cat's name is Pig. I probably should have mentioned that. The weird thing about writing for people in the future is that you don't know how much you need to explain. Do you people still keep pets in your time? Do you still have cats? I'm not asking if cats still exist. Right now, we have a lot more cats than we know what to do with. But I'm not really writing this for people right now. I mean, if anyone besides my teacher ever sees these words, it'll be because I won the contest and this essay was buried in the time capsule with photographs and newspapers, and it was dug up 100 years later, and now you're reading it like a five-legged chair while snacking on roast planet or whatever. And it seems like you should know everything about my time already, but then I think of how little I know about 1913, so maybe I should clear a few things up. This story starts in June 2013, about 6 months after the alien Bov arrived. Maybe it's Boav, I don't know. Which also makes it 6 months after the aliens completely took over, and about a week after they decided the entire human race would probably be happier if they all moved out of some little out-of-the-way state where they could keep out of trouble. At the time, I lived in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania was on the eastern side of the United States. The United States was this big country where everybody wore funny t-shirts and ate too much. I'd been living by myself after Mom left. I didn't want anyone to know. I had learned to drive our car short distances by nailing cans of corn to my church shoes so I could reach the pedals. I made a lot of mistakes at first, and if anyone was walking on the sidewalk at 49th and Pine after dark on March 3rd, 2013, I owe you an apology. But eventually I got really good, like NASCAR good. So, while most people were reporting to the Boovovich rocket pods for relocation to Florida, I figured I'd drive there myself with no help from anyone. I got directions off the internet, which wasn't as easy as it used to be because the BOAV had started shutting it down. But the route looked easy. The website said it would take 3 days, but most drivers weren't as good as I was, and they wouldn't be eating frosting and root beer, so they could drive nonstop either. I worked my way through knots of people, past a woman with a baby in a crystal punch bowl, past a man carrying rotting boxes that bled baseball cards all over the street, and finally to the community tennis courts where I'd left the car. It was a little hatchback, the size and color of a refrigerator, and only about twice as fast, but it didn't use much gas. And I didn't have much money. I drained our bank account, and there was less than I'd expected in the rainy day fund that Mom had kept at the bottom of an underwear drawer in a pantyhose egg labeled Dead Spiders, as if I hadn't always known it was there, as if I wouldn't have wanted to look at dead spiders. I threw the camera bag and backpacks into the back seat, and suddenly got a dead weight in my stomach from the loneliness of it all. I turned my head this way and that, looking past the panicky people, looking past a man wearing oven mitts and holding a pot roast. For God's sakes, pardon my language. I don't know what or who I was looking for, certainly not the cat, but I called her anyway. "Pig!" I yelled. "Pig!" Shouting pig outdoors usually attracts some attention, but no one paid me any that day. Actually, my third pig, one guy ducked, but I'm not sure what that was about. Anyway, just as I was turning to get in the car, a fat gray cat came barreling across the street, leaped up onto the dashboard. She turned around, stretched her cheek out for a scratch. "Oh," I said. "Okay, I guess you can come, but you'll have to do your business at rest stops." Pig purred. By this point, I was thinking it would be nice to have some company, as I didn't expect to see anyone else for a couple of days. I assumed the highways would be empty. You see, with nearly everybody taking the rocket pods. I was right, and I was wrong. Did you know that cats don't like riding in cars? They don't, at least mine didn't. Before we started out, I reset the trip odometer, so I knew that Pig spent the first 22 and a half miles staring out the rear windshield and hissing. She clung to the headrest of the passenger seat like a Halloween decoration. back arched and poofy. "Calm down," I shouted as I dodged abandoned cars on the highway. "I'm a really good driver." She stopped hissing and growling. Sort of. You know how cats growl, like pigeons who smoke too much. "I could have left you at home, you traitor. You could have moved in with your precious Boav." I have no trouble looking at a cat and steering at the same time, but for some reason the car sort of hopped over a skin of a tire tread on the road, and Pig squealed and shot off the headrest, looped around the back seat a couple of times, darted over the gear shift, finally curling into a ball under the brake pedal. "Uh-oh," I muttered. I pressed the brake gently to coax her out. She hissed and took a swipe at the can of corn under my shoe. I looked up at the road, dodged an empty motorcycle, then glanced back down at my feet. "Come on, Pig," I said reassuringly while swerving to avoid a minivan. "Come on out, oil tanker. I'll give you a treat, sports car." Why had everyone just left their cars? Said Pig. "Yeah, you want a treat? Treat?" I lifted over and over like a songbird. Pig still hadn't moved, but I had a stretch of clear road. I was just keeping my eye on a big rig on the left, in the distance, and that's when I saw something move. It hung in the air over the trailer, lazily bobbing up and down. It was a mass of bubbles, soap bubbles, maybe, but some were the size of softballs, others like basketballs, and they all stuck and interlaced together to make a star shape as big as a washing machine. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. As you can see, it's a really funny book, and I know it looks big, but it didn't take that long for me to read it because it's so funny and you want to see what happens, and it's really, really good. So anyways, the book is called The True Meaning of Smekday. Come to the library and check it out, and if you know the title of the movie in the Netflix series, come on down and tell me. All right, have a great day, everybody.